Dear Grace, as you can tell with your excellent hearing, back to where it all started. The scene of the crime. Place where I came up with the concept for Dear Grace. I said I'd never come back here, but I lied. It's just way too convenient. And even though it's Sunday and the trains are going nuts for some reason, forget where I left off yesterday. Walking the park. Harder to focus on one subject. It's easier in front of the computer. Especially when I can see the last words that I just spoke on screen. So when I do forget, I can go back and pick up where I left off. And like when I'm sitting outside in the park, I just have to spitball it. Today's weather report. Sunny as fuck. Super sunny. Barely a cloud in the sky. Where I'm at. Left off with the Telepathy Tapes. Is that another brilliant idea? Since telepathy is becoming mainstream now, or will be shortly, every autistic in the world all of a sudden starts talking to their parents in their head and fucking with their minds. Be the rise and revolt of the autistics. But assuming that doesn't happen, and assuming they don't take over the world, Grace, there'll be need for a telepathic comedian. And since I'm already the first lie-down comedian, I might as well be the first telepathic comedian too. Obviously there's some problems. The biggest problem being, how the fuck do I get paid? Especially if the hill is like I described a couple episodes ago, where it's anonymous. Further to the idea of the hill, I'll go back to the telepathic comedian in a second, Grace. By the way, we're working on Rockstar Original again. Sugar-free. I got it right this time. Doesn't need a flavor. Rockstar. I've got my sponsors lined up. Rockstar, North Face, every cannabis country, or every cannabis company in the country, and that should be enough. So I guess I just have to telepathically implant a message in them to send me money for advertising. Or we could just do this for fun. Sorry. I stop talking every time a pretty girl walks by. Confuses me. Two in a row on the train. I may never get this out. Sleep. Kid with basketball. Alright, the hill. I think I nailed. God damn, can't speak, Grace. I think the concept. Alright, now a dog with the weirdest eyes in the fucking world. Looking for a bench with sun, Grace. Looking for a bench with sun. Now I'm gonna wait for the sun to come around the building. I can take it. Alright, Telepathic Comedian and the hill. The hill is just like Ricky's Island. Except instead of saving humanity, you're just saving yourself. It's a break from humanity. And this is the way I see it. I see it like a hotel where you get your own room, do what you want. No maid service, but just like a hotel room. And if you're disabled in real life, you're not disabled in that room. But on the other hand, if you've been disabled your whole life physically, and you're all of a sudden transported to a room where you're no longer disabled, I think that would freak a few people out. I mean, for people who've experimented with drugs, maybe not so much. If you've never had out-of-body experiences, or if you've never had lucid dreams, if you've never had vivid dreams, or if you've never really had any experience, I think that'd be pretty freaky. Kind of the reverse of people who wake up and say they are in, well, they don't say they are in sleep paralysis. It scares the crap out of them because they're used to being in their body, and all of a sudden they're locked out of it. I also think it doesn't have to be an actual physical space. It's really dependent on who's there and why they're there. How about this? The Hill is a place where any two people can find a way to communicate, whether that's telepathically through thought messages, telepathically through emotions, whether that's sharing visuals, whether that's whatever. It really doesn't matter. It would be up to the two people to consensually decide how that would work. In the case of nonverbal autistics, the consensual would just be automatic through the relationship with the parents or any family member or anybody they're close to. I'm sure there's more than one severe autistic on the planet who had a caregiver that cared for them more than the parents did. Probably isn't a great way to start a conversation about telepathic comedy, but shit's real. I suppose, in a sense, telepathic comedy would be a pure form if all the recipients weren't in the same room, because then if they laughed, it wouldn't be because other people were laughing, it would be because they thought it was funny. And while I think it's good to go out in groups and laugh together, I think that's great actually, especially if you're laughing at me after paying me a stupid amount of money to stand on stage and tell jokes. But not everyone goes to comedy club every night, and that's the problem. They need to. Which is what sitcoms were for. They're supposed to be for, and I guess they probably still are for a lot of people. I'm just bitter and they don't make me laugh anymore. Or technically I just can't find a new one. And they don't do reruns, Grace. I'll do them with you, but nobody else. And I guess the Hill could be a place where people test out material. get anonymous feedback. Like, that fucking sucks. You're a jerk. Be polite. Get a life. Except there's probably some sort of filter where you have to be nice and supportive. And all that bullshit. Sun's out now. Well, it's always been out, but it's on me now. I'll tell you this, it's important fact, Grace. Some guy's pacing around the courtyard. Every time he walks by, he looks at me recording to my phone. Fuck you, buddy. Fuck you. Giving him a piece of my mind telepathically, Grace. I'm warning him. He looks at me one more time. It's gonna be words. Plus, I'm just gonna turn around and look into the sun anyways. Alright. Telepathic comedy. So I get to the hill. How do I get there? Drugs, meditation, sleep, whatever. Prepare all my jokes all day long. Set up a stage metaphorically, and maybe visually. Pretend I'm standing on stage. Pretend you're in the audience, Grace. Because you're in the audience, I'm smiling. Even if we haven't met yet. You know what I mean. I see your face in the audience. And it'd all come back to me. But now I'm digressing. Alright, so you get the comedy all set up, go into the room, blah blah blah. I'm Dave, I'm retired autistic Caesar, blah 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 blah, ha ha ha. And then there's probably a rule that you can't ask for money via telepathy. I mean, you obviously can't send it via telepathy. I guess someone could send you their bank information, but that'd be a little dangerous. Can't send it via. You probably can't ask via. Which then it comes back to this stupid, pure comedy art form that makes the person no money. To live with the joy that he made someone else laugh for free. Question is, with Telepathic comedy be about telepathy, about telepathics, telepathicology, telepathy. Would telepathy comedy be about telepathy or just regular comedy? And if I'm visualizing it, if I'm visualizing myself on stage, would others on the hill receive that visualization or their own visualization? Is it like they're describing what they're receiving to their AI and their AI creates an image? Or is the image that I'm creating in my mind? These are the questions that keep me up at night, Grace. Glad the recording studio wasn't available today. I'm trying to think of telepathy jokes. Guess I have to do it the same way I did all the other jokes for back taxes special number 1. A lie down comedy special. It's a pretty good promo there, Grace. I need to thank a whole bunch of comedians, Grace. I kind of have along the way, but not officially. Sorry, but when the sun's shining directly into your eyes, at least my eyes, it's hard for me to think. Alright, jokes about telepathy would be just like hi, I'm David. I'm a retired autistic senior. You may have heard autistics can communicate telepathically. And then blah blah blah, I'd say something funny like, it's not all what it's cracked. It's not what it does a BD. It's not all what it sound be. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Imagine text messages you can't ignore. There you go, Grace. Joke number 1. Telepathic joke number 1. The good thing about this, Grace, is we really can run it through ABBD, run it through AI. Just replace Grace with your real name. The other good thing about looking into the sun is you can't see the pretty girls walking by because you can't see anything. Just think about that for a second, Grace. The whole text message concept. Because wouldn't there need to be a way of knowing that the other person received the message? Without them having to say, yes, I received it. Like some old person calling you that they received the email. Which is a really old joke, but to be fair, I was around when they started email, so I get to make it. I froze my ass off sitting, so I'm standing. I'm just gonna keep walking and moving until I can stay in the sun like a cat. First joke may not be perfect, but it's a start. I'm going to call this Inspiration Park. The start of Dear Grace, the start of the first telepathic comedian / sleep comedian / hypnotic comedian. I'll be a comedian one way or the other, Grace. If I have to hypnotize you into laughing, I'll do that. Not beneath me at all. In fact, I'm going to find a way. In fact, tonight I'm going to start listening to books on how to hypnotize people. And then I'm going to find a way to hypnotize the entire audience in my opening line. I am David, a retired autistic senior. If I say that, they'll be hypnotized, and they'll laugh no matter what. To be fair, I'm only talking about in-person comedy, not lie-down comedy or telepathic comedy. It'd be hard to do lie-down comedy in public, but you could. Yoga mats in this park. Unbelievably rude. They do Tai Chi in this park. But if the ground ever dried up, there'd be a whole bunch of yoga mats down there on the grass. And then I could just stand at the front of the park and do my lie-down comedy. And then everyone could basically just sleep for that hour as I bore them to death. Be a good lunch break. Maybe we'll make it 45 minutes. Anyone that's within 7 minutes of the park can walk over, throw their yoga mat down, lie down. I'll talk for 45 minutes. And then 7 minutes to get back to work. And skip lunch, you don't need it. Just have a nap. Alright, joke number 2. Telepathy would have to be foolproof. Otherwise, just otherwise, it has to be foolproof. There has to be a way of knowing the person received the message. I know I already said that, but I'm looking for a joke here. Alright, now I'm walking where that guy was walking. And annoying me. But I'm walking ahead of him, so fuck him. Might be a reptile. Need the sun. Or I'm enjoying the sun today. One or the other. Perfect. Just like a reptile, I'm sitting on a rock in the sun. Although to be fair, the rock is cold as fuck. Making me clench a little. Grace, I should probably try to impress your parents or family more. Instead of starting another type of comedy. But I need something I can do daily. I've done it, Grace. Found the perfect place to sit. Not quite comfortable yet, but it's going to be in a second. Rock is just close enough to the tree that I can lean against it. And I'm leaning high enough onto the tree. And I'm not leaning where the dog would be pissing. Now, to be fair, they could have pissed on the rock. But all these rocks look green for some reason. They also look clean. It's been raining quite a bit. Shit, Grace. Been talking into the wrong end of the phone. I think it's the first time that's happened. Surprisingly. Well, I'm not sure if you heard any of that or not, but I found a perfect place to sit. Got a rock near a tree that I can lean against. I can lean high enough that I'm not leaning in any dog piss. And that's the joke. Blah, blah, blah. Ha ha ha. Laugh. Send money here. No, except for that last part. All right. Need another telepathy joke, Grace? If you're telepathing with me right now, send me something funnier than what I've done so far. But I'm probably going to take credit for it anyways. This is what I think, Grace. I don't know how much they talked about it in the telepathy tapes. About dreams. But I think when quote-unquote autistic people sleep, they don't dream the same way non-autistic people sleep. And they basically dream on the hill, or live a second life on the hill. Like they're tolerating this life for some reason. And I keep saying that because I recall times in my past life, or my earlier life, don't like saying past, I'm not talking about fucking reincarnation. Back when I could get back into my dreams, really good dreams, I would do that. To the point where I was just living the day, waiting until the night to get back to sleep. Whereas a world that I could control and understand. In a weird lucid dream state, but still, it felt real. And that's the point I've been trying to make. Technically, that's the point I've failed to make in 97 episodes. I was having dreams so real that when you wake up, you've experienced every single emotion in that dream. I guess a lot of people call that nightmares. I stopped having nightmares in my teens. I'm not sure why. Like puberty. Who knows? Alright. I guess I'm kind of screwed, Grace. If you're in the audience with your parents or family, your parents and family, and we're friends, acquaintances, co-workers, people we went to school with, third cousins. Third cousins really aren't family. That's why I put them in their own group, Grace. But anyway, if you're out there, I lose a lot of my material. Not to mention, they've heard my previous quote-unquote comedy, whether that be attempted stand-up, spoken word, lie down, telepathic, probably start fart comedy next. It'll just be an hour of me farting, Grace. And saying stuff like that just digs my hole deeper and deeper. So, I've decided if you're real, Grace, whether that's real, real telepathically, or real non-telepathically, but you're some weirdo who listens to this. Either of those works. I think my best bet is just make your mom and dad laugh. Because I definitely won't be able to stop. But then again, to be fair, if we have been communicating telepathically, you have a bit of a sick sense of humor too. So really, if you could just make that sense of humor a little sicker, a little darker, a little weirder, just break them down a little bit further, get them to the point where they don't know what's coming out of your mouth, whether you mean it, whether it's bullshit. Just keep them utterly confused. And as long as they laugh at the end, then we've started to recondition them, reprogram them. We're in control their minds to believe what we think is funny is what they think is funny. And yes, I realize just now I'm digging a bigger hole. I'm going from lying to your dad to mind control. Both your parents. What do dogs expect to find in the park? There's some more generic mom and dad friendly humor. If I'm older than your mom and dad, what the hell am I gonna call them? I mean, technically, as soon as you pop out a kid, I can call them Grandpa and Grandma. But since I'm older, Sort of like our kid gets an extra grandpa and a dad, all in one. Because we both know I'm going to spoil those kids. Not with riches, but with everything else. Like a grandparent. I'm David, retired autistic senior. I'm transmitting this message into your head telepathically, and you will laugh at each and every one of my jokes. You will do this because I'm a narcissist. I insist on being narcissistical, even though I don't actually know what that word means. But I might Google it later. I think this is around 40 minutes, I'm not sure. Might be less. Another problem with the sun is it's hard to see a screen. A teeny tiny little number on it. I'm sure there's a reason for this, Grace. But parks in Vancouver, all the grassy areas, the grass is like on rough ground, not smooth like turf, not like a backyard grass. It's like I don't know. Sure, it's probably just all the moisture in the soil, but if I ran this operation, I'd get a big machine that packs down soil, makes it flat. Then you'd still have the softness of the grass, without having to look for a toe hold to get to the next step. Alright, 10 minutes to go. So far I've written one bad telepathy joke. And probably either made your parents laugh hysterically, causing them to love me even more, even though they haven't met me. Or there's a big gauge on the wall of your house. Every time I'm a jerk on these podcasts, one of them walks over to the gauge and pushes it, I would say, pushes it upward. Not downward. If I say something nice to you, Grace, or say something nice about you, not weird shit like you're probably a stripper. Say you're a stripper, your dad's definitely gonna go over and push the gauge down. If I say we're gonna have lots of beautiful babies together, your mom and dad might go over and push that gauge up. Again, we're just gonna psychologically manipulate them. And in the end, they won't even know. Because I highly doubt 20 years from now, Dad's gonna look at me from across the table and go, "Oh yeah, you're that jerk that called my daughter a stripper." I don't think you'd do that. And to be fair, if you did, you'd probably get the best laugh of the night. So here's my suggestion. Grace's dad, hold on to that one for 20 years. Might be a while if you can do 20, but I'd say hold on to that one at least 10 years. Trying to think of some special occasion. Yes, yeah, 10-year anniversary would work, even though I wasn't really planning on doing the whole anniversary bullshit. 10-year anniversary, Grace and I, quote unquote, tying the knot, so to speak. And there's a free joke for you, Granddad. Alright, I might as well just write the jokes for everybody. Who's next? Well, I think maybe what I'll do, Grace, is I'll do what I used to do, is I just say do a lot. Do, 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 do. I'm going to go and purchase an actual notebook, kind where you write down shit, and go write. Guess might as well do an hour's worth. I got nothing fucking better to do. Alright, either an hour's worth of funny telepathy jokes, or an hour of what I would say on stage with you and your family in the audience looking at me like, go on, get out. Mr. Big Shot. Say your little jokes. Starting to see the benefits of telepathy comedy. Because it's actually just a whole lot easier for me to go write this scenario and then go to the library tomorrow and record it. And then hope that the universe somehow magically sends that out telepathically. Because I'll guarantee you my shitty subscribers are not sharing it. But to be fair, I do call them cunts. But who hasn't been called a cunt in their life? And as usual, although I'm not trying to be quirky, that does seem like a place to end this podcast. Talk tomorrow, Grace.